Hi, Sherry. Hi, everybody.
It's so good to see you. Nita is a writing and meditation coach and the author of Depression Hates a Moving Target. I love that title every time I say it.
Thank you.
Welcome, Nita.
Thanks so much. Glad to be here.
I think you might have the book right there to show us, do you?
I do. It's right here.
I love the cover too.
Yeah, we got really fortunate with the cover. We um, just found a great photo that felt like it really captured the essence of the book, and Mango was fabulous with that. So
Yeah. Well, I'm going to stall us for just a moment because I know you're posting the link on your own page. You can let me know.
I'm trying to do that. I Yeah, there we are. Okay.
Yeah. So while you're doing that, I just want to say that it is so nice to have this chance to talk to you. And I'm really excited to get to know a little bit more about you and your book. And I know that there are a lot of other people who are really excited. So you let me know when you're here.
Okay, hang on one second.
Okay.
I'm just posting it over on my site so that if people are on my site, they can actually see it right
I
there.
I love that because people might want to come on over, and I'll just say this: if anybody is listening live, it's really fun. If you have any questions as we're having a conversation, that things you want to ask Nita, or if you read her book and you want to say anything about it, that would be really fun. It's always nice to have that interaction.
Yeah. Okay, I think I've got it. So let's go ahead and go.
Yay! All right. Well, I think the best place to begin is if you just want to tell us a little bit more about the book itself and what inspired you to write this book.
I'm really happy to talk about that. It was quite a journey. I was in a very bad place. I've been writing for many years, but I got to a place where, in one particular year, a whole bunch of loved ones and a cat died. And I was already chronically depressed, had gradually become overweight over the years. I mean, really overweight. And and I saw a friend's social media post one day. She said, "Call me crazy, but this running is getting to be fun." And I thought, she's crazy. She really is crazy. Um, but some time passed and I watched her journey and I got curious. And so I went online and found the training app that she was using, and it said 60 seconds of jogging. And I think if it had said 60 seconds of running or 90 seconds of running, I'm not sure, I would have just turned away, closed my laptop and gone on. But I was at a place where I knew something needed to change because I was on a downward spiral,
Mm.
the likes of what I hadn't been on for a very long time. And so I leashed up our yellow Labrador for emotional support, Morgan, and we went out down into this hidden ravine down by where we live, just like 5-minute walk from my house, because I was afraid to be seen trying to jog. I just was so self-conscious and a bit paranoid too. And we jogged. I had a little digital kitchen timer, which I had used for writing practice and meditation. So it was a very comforting thing
Yeah.
to have. And I started, and that was the beginning. And it didn't take long for me to see results, and that's where the book part of this comes in.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly, people started to say things like, "Did you get a haircut? Uh, what's different about you?" They would ask these odd questions
Yeah.
because they couldn't tell what changed. And I couldn't really see anything. In fact, I didn't even tell my husband that I was doing this for a while because he was at work. These were, during the day when he was at work. And so I started writing things down. I'm a very compulsive journaler and I track things. I always write things down. So I already had kind of notes. So finally, once I got to the place where I had joined a running group and, gotten brave, run my first 5K, that's a whole thing in the book about how that happened because, I was going to be a private runner. I wasn't going to run in public. But I realized that there was more of a story to this. And I thought at first it was sort of a middle-aged woman changes her life story. But once I got into the writing and especially the revision, once I got some feedbacks from some editors, I realized it was a story about mental health. It was a
Wow.
story about a woman who was trying to save her life. And that's what I hoped would come across. It's definitely a running book. There's tons of running in it, but a lot of my non-runner readers, not friends, just random strangers who have picked it up because of the depression in the title, relate to the feelings, relate to the emotions, what happens when someone who's depressed tries something new, and when our minds do, the voices in our head. The line that begins the book, the very first line, is, "My mind was trying to kill me again." And so that's where the book starts. And, it goes on um, to show how I transformed my life with running, with the help of friends, a structure, all those things. So that's a bit of a summary of the book.
Wow. Wow. Yes. And so much in there, right? And I want to say hi to Deborah, who you might be able to see has been posting some great comments. Yay, journaling, and go you, which I love. Hi, Deborah. Well, there's so much, right? Because what really jumped out at me, so much of what you said was this saved your life, you know? And how many of us, have been through a period where we've been in that place of depression and something has saved our lives. And I know for me, I never tire of hearing people's stories about what it is, right?
Right. And it could be anything. I mean, for me, it was running, but it just has to be something. Now, I'm a big believer in breaking a sweat, even if it's just by walking around the block. I think there's something very physical that happens, or physiological, that happens in the brain, and there's a lot of science behind that too. And that was my experience. But just some kind of change was necessary because I was stuck. It was inertia, and
Mm.
something had to propel me forward, because I was just going to stay where I was and get worse. So,
And I love, all the language you're using fits exactly with the book, right? Like, I was stuck, I needed some momentum. I needed to move forward. And again, I said this at the beginning. I just feel like just the title of your book is such a teaching. And I think that's why I love it so much. Whenever, for me at least, and, I'd be interested to hear how other people feel, but just whenever I see that title, it reminds me, how important it is to take that first step, whatever it is.
right. And I think, I get asked a lot by friends and loved ones, family members, of people who are suffering from depression, anxiety, mania, all the various things that I talk about in the book. And I'm not sure it's something you can give to someone, but it's something you can help someone find. And that's what my friend did, not by telling me, "Hey, you should go run," but just posting very gently, "This is what I'm doing, and this is how my life is changing." And so those seeds were planted. And that's what helped me, because people had told me, "Oh, you should start exercising." And I would just roll my eyes and say, "Will you look at my size? Will you look at how old I am?" All those kinds of things. And so I'm very careful not to say that, you want to shove your loved ones out the door, but gentle nudges can be really helpful.
Well, and I don't want to project too much, and you can tell me, but it seems to me that my guess is that part of your inspiration for writing this book is not to tell people what to do, but in your beautiful, I love your writing, and that's a whole nother piece of this. You are a gorgeous writer, but that you're showing people this is my journey. So it was that a piece of it to hopefully maybe inspire that.
Oh, absolutely. I just think that, for me, writing is a powerful message. All the different things that I've written, I'm always trying to share my experience without telling someone to do what to do. And so this was a great opportunity to do that. And what's happened, which was kind of, it shouldn't have been surprising, but I've sort of turned into this mental health advocate by accident. And that's kind of the new place that I'm at, is just sharing my experiences, saying, "I don't know what's going to work for you, but let's just try something. Just try anything."
Yeah. And I'm particularly drawn to you and to your work, both because I have in my own history a really dark period of depression that led me to my own work. But also that the piece that really saved my life was meditation. And I
Mm,
know that that's also such a large part of your life. And I'm wondering, can you just share a little bit about that part?
absolutely. I began meditating in probably 1992 or 93, very shortly after I met my husband, because he'd been meditating for quite a few years. And, he just said, let's just set the kitchen timer for 5 minutes and just see if you can sit still. And I wasn't immediately drawn to it, but I wanted to kind of practice with him, and over the years, it's become integral. And so now, when I run, there's always a meditative component to it. I'm always trying to be focused on right where I'm at, my body
Mm.
sensations, my thoughts, the environment around me. Even if I'm having a conversation with someone I'm running with, I'm usually have some mindfulness component where I'm noticing, my left foot, or noticing my back or something like that. And that grounding has really helped me. I had gotten to a place emotionally, though, where I was almost unable to meditate because the my mind was just in such a bad place. And I'd actually talked to my meditation teacher about it. When I first went on medication, I was concerned. I thought, shouldn't I be able to meditate my way through this? And the truth was, I couldn't. Now, a lot of people can. And so, again, I'm not telling somebody, oh, you should try meditation instead of, getting other help. But for a lot of people, meditation is a great way to get out of the darkness. So I'm really, really happy to hear that that tool has worked really well for you, because it's very, very powerful.
Right. And, again, I just love where you're coming from. And I'm 100% the same way that it's like, we don't know what's going to work for any one person. And I think that's the beauty of so many people sharing their stories, because something just like that spoke to you when you read your friend's social media post. Something will call to us. I do really believe that piece,
Mhm.
that if we're paying attention and we're in that dark place, that there's going to be something that kind of has a little shimmer, you know? And it might be something, some kind of moving, or it might be meditation, or it might be music, or it might be some other nature, or anything, right? Like anything. But to me, the beautiful thing is that sense of can I follow like you did? And it was so, I don't want to give away the story because I really want people to read your book. But the beautiful way you unwrap the story for us, that we get to be there sort of literally step by step, is so wonderful.
Thank
And
you.
yeah,
Thanks.
yeah, and I'm hoping that when people read your book, that yeah, that again, maybe it'll be running, maybe that will inspire them, but it might also just say like, oh, she saw her friend's post, well, what am I seeing right now that is sort of lighting me up a little?
Right. I always like to think that you have to find the thing, and you said the words, light you up or light me up. You have to find the thing that resonates with you. And also, something that worked for a while might stop working. And
Yes.
so we can fall into a funk where we have to have something different or new, or go to a deeper level with the thing that we were doing. And so I think that's the great thing about meditation, too. That's the lesson, is that everything is changing. And I have to be open to see those changes. And because I do have depression, and it kind of will stop my brain, kind of stick my brain. I have to have other people sometimes to help me see that new thing. So, like you said, I saw that social media post. That was the new thing, because I wasn't new to depression. I'd had that for many, many years. I've had various cycles. I've been hospitalized, but on that particular day, I was ready, to see her post in a different way, and to try something. So.
Yeah. Hey, I wonder, Amy is posting that she's watching Somerset. Does that mean something to you?
Oh, no, she's probably watching from Somerset. Yeah.
Oh,
Hi,
from
hi,
Somerset.
Amy.
Where's
Yeah, Somerset,
Somerset?
Ohio. Somerset.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
It's
so
in,
fun.
what's it near New Lexington, or Cambridge, Zanesville, kind of that.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
it.
in
I love
Ohio.
it. And also, thanks again, Deborah. I love how supportive Deborah has been.
Oh, she's
Um,
fantastic. Yeah.
I
I had so many people are just, showing so much love. It's, I don't, I mean, I kind of cheer up every time I think about it because it's just,
know.
the reception has been fantastic. So
Well, Anita, I just want to say, and again, people who read your book will, I'm sure, agree with this, that to me, you show up, right? You just show up so wholly and completely you with your story and with the thoughtfulness with which you wrote it and the love that comes from it. And so to me, it's no surprise that people want to show up too, right? Because when someone shows up and they're honest and vulnerable with us, it opens a door. And I feel like that's what you've done.
thank you. That was what I tried to do a few years ago. Let's see. I write a monthly newsletter for Central Ohio writers called Right Now Columbus. I've been doing that. Oh gosh, I think it's been almost 20 years now.
Oh, wow.
And a friend of mine who's another writer talked about the posts that she resonated with the most were the ones what she called authentic. And I think what she meant was where I was vulnerable, where I really showed people the fact that I do have depression. I mean, I still do have depression, but it's just not as bad. It's so much better. And where I really told them what was going on, as opposed to, sometimes I, give the 5 reasons to review a book and a brief how to, and those are great too. But she said the ones where I showed more of myself were more valuable to her. And when it came to this book, like I said, I've written a bunch of other books that haven't been published. I haven't, gone that far with them. But this one really just go very deep and be very vulnerable. And it was comments like that friend of mine's who made me think that's where my juice is. That's where my power is where I can really show myself. And, you always have a little bit of reserve. I mean, you're different people, you're different, I'm a different person and with different people, but in the writing to really go as deep as I could, and people connect with that. So I'm really, really, I thank my friend, but I'm really, really glad that that I was in a place to be able to do that. Because sometimes it's hard. I mean, I'd write some passages and I'd have to step away and, cry and talk to my husband and talk to some friends because they're really hard. Because it's like you're going back into these situations again and reliving them. So it's not something everybody can do, but that's where the power of the book has been. That's the place people are really connecting. So.
Yeah, and you know what's dropping in for me as you're saying that we have something in common, which is that Natalie Goldberg, who
Yes.
I, you know, again, like so when I was back like 30 years ago, when I was in that deepest pit of depression and everything was closing in, aside from meditation, also her wild writing was very, very, very popular at the time. Thank goodness, because I had the chance to do some work with her when she's here in the Bay Area, and I think she's that work speaks to what you're just saying, right? That idea of and just being able to write without the editor, without all of the any ideas about, well, how is this going to be received or what does this say about me, but just to purely be able to speak from the heart is such a powerful practice.
I agree. When I was assisting her, the thing that I remember her talking about at the time, that would have been, oh, I don't know, it was like 1996 to 2006, something like that. I worked with her, and she talked about building a spine, how as a writer, you need to build a spine. And the way to do that is to practice not flinching to the comments, not, it's like you see through it all, and just to show up, just keep showing up. And, she would quote Katagiri Roshi, continue under all circumstances, don't be tossed away, make positive effort for the good. And that is, that's just something I try to live by. It's hard. I mean, some days you just don't want to show up, especially when you have this, I have this voice in my head that says all these negative things. But the practice of doing that really, really helped my writing because I knew that it was just a voice. It was just resistance. It was just, that thing that's there for a lot of us. So yeah, writing practice has been, it's the rock of all my writing. That's just where I start from everything. So thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel again for me that combination, because for me so much of it was that constant barrage of how I wasn't good enough or not living up to the expectations, or all of that stuff. That practice of wild writing and meditation, of course, they're the same thing, right? And
Right, right.
it doesn't.
It's another practice, right?
And I'm guessing, although you've really whet my appetite to. I've never been a runner, but you've really whet my appetite to want to like do this. But I'm guessing there might be a similar thing too, that when we're really present with the running or the writing or the meditation, right, that there's not the space for that self-talk. Is that
That
so?
is, yeah, that's exactly true. We joke, runners joke about the fact that the first mile is a liar. So as your body's getting warmed up, a lot of times, whether you have mental health issues or not, I think it's true of any exercise, but my brain will be saying, oh my gosh, you don't want to do this, this is painful, or it'll go to, you're going to have a heart attack, you're ruining your knees, this is just horrible for you, you're too old, all that kind of stuff. And so from meditation and also from listening to Natalie, I am in a place where I can say, thank you, mind. I hear that you are trying to save me. I hear that you think I am endangering myself. Let's just give it a couple more minutes and see what happens. And so you keep going, but you don't, what I don't do is tell my voice to shut up or put up the stop sign, which I actually was taught in therapy and never worked for me. I think it works for somebody that worked for me. But to say, oh, there you are, my friend, the part of my brain that really, really thinks I am endangering myself. I hear you. I see you. Now let's just give this a little time and see what happens. And that has been very, very effective. But we all joke about that, about the first mile. We're just, thinking, whose idea was this? Or the other thing is, I've run 3 full marathons and 28 half marathons in 18 states and blah, 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 blah. And I'll go out for, if I don't run 3 or 4 days, I'll try to go out and my brain will say, well, that was fun. You had your time with the whole running thing. But those days are over. It's ridiculous how it just comes right back. And so now I can kind of laugh at it and go, oh, there you are again. And, I'm just going to go around the block. We'll see what happens. So.
Wow. I love that you shared that. Well, for 2 reasons. One, because I was really wanting to know if you still run. And I think you just, yeah.
Well, I've had a number of things happen that, I got sick, basically just a cold that won't go away. And excuse me. So I haven't run in a couple of weeks. And so my brain is just, that's the whole message that's on. And I know I will run again. I know I will. But yeah, I'm still definitely, it's part of my mental health toolkit, and my knees are fine. Thanks. That was for, I won't say who it is, but there's a particular person in my life that, not my husband, not the runners. There's a particular family member who tends to ask me every time I see him how my knees are. So.
And your knees are fine. Well, yeah, so I love that. I love, because it answered my question about running. I also love the reminder that that's just what the brain is going to do,
Right.
and we can probably put that into, at least I know in my life, 1,000 contexts, like where it'll say, and I'm like, okay, I've heard that. And my experience is usually that once I push past it, gently and with love, something different happens. And so
Yes.
I really hear you with that. And I love that reminder that, and it's so gentle the way that you do it. Like, thank you. I know you're trying to help out right here. Let's just see, and we could use that probably with a million things too, where procrastination comes in with something that we love, oh, you can't do that. You don't want to do that. And then for me, if I just set a timer or 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, the timer is excellent too.
Right, then it's like I get a chance to see, like you do with running, and I love that about the first mile, because I've always thought like, oh, I'm not a runner, because I'll try to run and within minutes I'm just like exhausted and
Mm-hmm.
And
my recommendation is to slow down.
Yeah.
Because you might be running too fast.
Oh, I like that. I know. Your book has inspired me in
Oh,
so many ways, but I might just try. I like that idea of, and again, jogging, not running. I like the idea of
right,
60
right.
seconds.
Well, and I needed a structure. Hold on one second. I'm going to take a little sip of water
Of
here.
course.
I got a little throat thing. So I needed a structure. So the training plan that my friend used, I took that on as a structure because, in meditation, you have a structure. You set a timer. In writing, you have a structure. You're either working on a piece or, if you're doing writing practice, it's a structure. So I needed a structure. And so that's another thing I encourage people to use is to find a plan and of some kind for whatever, say I'm going to take this aerobics class. It's 45 minutes. So I just have to do it for that long. Something that gives you an end in sight. And also something I love making like the little check mark. Like I print out the schedule and I make the little check
Yes.
mark and that gives me like a little dopamine hit. Um, that's all part of it for me. I need those kinds of external things. I'm not internally enough driven um, to not need that structure. So
I love that. And that was some great tips like that people could take away right now and actually use in their life, to listen to something that might be sort of resonating or calling to you, and to make sure that there's some structure around it. And then to give yourself, I love what you just said about that little check mark or a sticker or whatever that is, to
right,
give yourself
stickers,
that little that a sense of accomplishment and a kind of attaboy or attagirl feeling, you know.
the other thing that I've been saying lately, which I did myself but didn't realize, was to make the goal so small you can't fail. Um, I'm in a group of people who run for mental health, which is a fantastic fit. But we're there, we don't promote stuff. We're just there to support each other. And um, sometimes one of us will just say to another one, jog around the living room and call that a win. Just do 3 laps around your living room and call that a win. Just again, we're dealing with inertia a lot of times. You talked about procrastination too. The other factor that I face is perfectionism.
Aha.
So there's part of me that says, if I can't do this well, if I can't run a marathon today, why would I even start? And so that's something I really have to be awake to and say, well, why don't we just see about something tiny, tiny goal that we can't miss that target and try with that. And that's been really, really helpful to me too.
I love that so much. I love that, especially, I love it anytime, but especially, I know for myself, when I'm in those times of depression, and there is literally that sense of not being able to move. And you
Yes.
wrote about this in your book too, but the sense of having the tiniest goal, I love that, that we can't fail, and it just sets something in motion. And in my mind, I always think of, I use the light a lot, it's just because that's such a big thing for me, but it's like turning toward the light. That's all that it is. It's like one tiny fraction of a step, but it can change everything.
Yeah, I really like that, turning toward the light. I hadn't thought of it that way, but that's a really good way because especially when you're depressed, there is this overwhelming sense of darkness. I
No.
mean, I'm in a fog, I'm in a gloom, I think one of the lines it was depression clung to me like a shroud. It was just I couldn't see through it. So I love that idea of turning toward the light because it's there. It's absolutely there. We just can't see it sometimes.
Yes, yes. Nita, I just realized, I can't believe how fast this time has gone. I love talking to you. There's so many things. I just want to know, before we go, is there anything you haven't had a chance to touch on that you really want to share?
Well, my dog really played an important role for me, and my husband. Those are the two. But I think that finding other support, whether it's friends, family, a dog, um, something, there's nothing wrong with needing that extra outside support. So um, Morgan was he in the book, he
Mm.
plays a huge role with kind of getting me through things. And so I always want to make sure that people know that there's, in fact, the book just actually won the Dog Writers Association of America. They have an annual writing contest, and the book won in the
Oh,
Animal Bond. So it's a very much a, it's a running story, it's a mental health story, it's a dog story. It's got a lot of things, but yeah. So I thought I'd throw that in. But
I'm so glad. Congratulations. That's so beautiful.
thanks. I was very excited and very surprised. I was really pretty stoked about that. So
Oh, and I just love that you wanted to acknowledge Morgan. I just think that's so beautiful. Oh, thank you so much. I hope that people have really enjoyed. I know that it's been a great thing for me to hear some more of your story. And I just want to tell people again, the book is so beautifully written and I love what you said, whether it's you're coming from the mental health part or the running part or the dog part or the meditation part, it interests so many people. And I want to encourage people to get it and read it and then come back and comment and let us know what your favorite parts are.
yeah, that would be great. I love hearing what resonates with people because it's been so different, so many different people.
Yeah.
So, but thank you so much, Sherry. This has been a great conversation. I haven't gotten your book yet, but it's on my list. I'm so excited for you with your progress too. It's just very, very excited to see people like you and so many good-hearted people doing well. So that makes me very.
Thank you. Thank you. And just a little special hello to everyone from Mango Publishing
Oh
because,
yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Nita and
I
I
just
have
feel like
to.
we just, I mean, I can't even say I refer to my editor as my fairy godmother. I mean, I just feel like they just sort of scooped me up and have taken such good care of me through this process. It's been amazing. So thank you, Mango. Thank you, Brenda. Thank all the people at Mango. And yeah, wow. And the other authors,
Oh,
the other Mango authors. Oh my gosh, it's just wow.
I know. And Deborah is one of them. And Deborah,
Yeah,
thank you. She just
Deborah.
posted, bless her heart, she just posted the link to your book because she's such a dear.
Oh,
And yeah,
she's so
I'm going to be
sweet.
talking to
Thank you,
Deborah. I forget
Deborah.
when exactly, but she'll be on, so we'll get a chance to talk to her some more. But
Yeah,
yeah,
she's got a great book too. There's so many good Mango books. It's just a wonderful organization. So
I
thank you.
know. So thank you, Nita. We'll see you soon.
Yep. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.